League, and Rookie brings it out.
I love this.
Blind picking that in the mid lane. And Chocho does take that Annie into support. This already feels like an exciting matchup.
It does, because top esports have the longer range composition and they have the outscaling composition because of that in a lot of ways. If they get ahead in a game, or if they...
And head to the Rift to find out.
And away we go. First game of this series. It has basically no implications for FunPlus Phoenix. They're out of playoffs, but they are here for pride, and they're here to show that they can bring what is rumored to be their strong form onto stage. We've seen a bit of that versus EGG, taking down one of our very top teams. Top esports on the other side. They can finish anywhere between 6th and 10th. They can be right away from like bottom of the playoffs bracket to just like one round in. They're not going to get into particularly, actually that's not exactly how it works, but still, the seeding, very important for them to at least get anything they can from the remainder of this split. This is a team that was meant to be a super team on par with JDG, and they've really not met those expectations.
I feel like for FPX as well, this is a team that I think are hitting below expectation. I think this is a team that realistically could have made it to playoffs, especially in the recent form we've seen. It's obviously more to the story. But we could have a very early 2v2 here. It feels like both bot lanes posturing very aggressively, but it is going to lead 2-0. As all three Spell Thief procs for both supports, they just trade a couple of autos, and we return to farming.
Well, what happened was both of these supports started with their shields, and because Molten Shield on Annie gives you like the little thorns, you technically do damage with the ability, so it gives the spell thief through that, whilst kind of also allowing you to trade shield for shield. So range versus range support, sometimes you get something like that.
Yeah.
And have to track how that seems
equally
to
with the Lulu shield, right? Because of Pix's auto attacks,
yes.
you get the bonus proc. So each of them double proc with the first auto. Trading aggressively in the mid lane as Cass just get rinsed, but does have the latter half of the trade. Conqueror coming in. Oh, it feels tense in the mid lane already.
Yeah.
Massively leveling up this split, but he's against Rookie today.
And again, it is just... Oh, Cleanse to pull out.
The root doesn't land from LWX. It should mean the top esports get away. Hacker is in the bottom side of the map, though. JackeyLove still has flash, but this could be dangerous for top
Did they not see it? Did they not see
flash,
it?
The heal already there. Cleanse on cooldown. Hacker trying to move in, but he can't get onto JackeyLove and has to back away.
What the heck happened? I thought that Warden River would have totally seen Hacker. A little bit slow on the reactions, forces that very early flash from JackeyLove. You know it has to recall. The wave could potentially crash in. That'd be bad news for top esports bot lane. Cross map to an extent being put in place by Tian, who's going to be able to steal away at least the blue buff. Might be able to look towards top side as well. Shallow, who strong individual player, but he's going to be in a 1v2. Should know that he's on the weak side of the map here.
Yeah, tries to go and get vision here. Looks for the 1v1 on Tian. Jumps over to his ward. Might be forced to flash on this one as Tian. He'll have his Q any second now. 1 second until he can start channeling, but Care slithering on over towards the play. Shallow, who really good confidence and patience there not to use a summoner.
Yeah, real discipline and bravery, I suppose, in that situation. You can see the nature of this matchup in the mid lane as well. You can't stand and channel Q versus the Cassie Pit. You just got to eat bad trades for a little while. Rookie doing some pretty decent job of getting some of those Voice of Light procs onto Care as he can, but the Cassie Pit is running the early matchup, which does allow Shallow Who to save his summoner on top side.
Certainly does. Wayward, no mana to work with, but the wave is slowly but surely pushing towards Shallow, who every minion's so low on HP. Shallow, who could clear this in a second. That ward is going to be so valuable for Shallow, who
sees him. Backs away.
And he still has flash.
Still has flash as well. And again, this is all working up. And again, FPX, this is a team which has been on such a huge loss streak through the mid-split of LPL. You really wouldn't be able to tell that, you wouldn't be able to kind of put the name tags to them, though, if you kind of just took name tags off. Would you be able to say this is the same as mid-split FPX? I absolutely wouldn't. Very important that they're landing some blows in this early game and allowing their solo lanes to play out lane dominance that they can do. Not led to any massive CS leads right now, but it has allowed them to avoid the early pressure of Tian, who in the early split was one of our very best junglers of finding his way into lanes.
Interesting watching this mid lane matchup between Rookie and Care here, as Rookie just keeps on tapping his Voice of Light just to proc comment onto Care, trying to go for these minuscule trades and are moving away before the Noxious Blast can come on through from Care. Really interesting to watch those mechanics in play. Tian, though, moved down to the bottom side of the map here. Chocho and LWX could be in trouble. They've got flashes available, and Tian on a control ward. Nothing coming of it.
Is down here as well. Of course, you have Flash on LWX as opposed to JackeyLove, who doesn't have his cleanse either. Point-and-click stun from Chocho. It's a little bit risky down here. JackeyLove and Mark need to be still playing very respectful. Now their jungler has left the river, not able to respond immediately to them. Checking in on the state of everything around here. We don't really have advantages being built up just yet. We kind of talked about how top esports, they kind of outrange, they potentially outscale a little later on. Rookie trading fairly well as far as things goes, just trying to get as much distance as he can between him and Care, but that's the ult.
There it is, that's the interaction we talked about, but the comment comes down. Rookie will survive. The all-in feels a bit much to say from Care, at least the ultimate from Care. Just means he can keep on farming. Both these champions are going to do well with farm, but it feels like Asol does better than anyone in the game with farm.
I was about to say, you know, like with the Cassiopeia, it's like, oh, it looks could kill, which is the ultimate, but of course it didn't do anything near that. It was just kind of there to make sure that Rookie is just continually in lane. He does have the Catalyst of Aeons. You're really waiting now for this first Aurelion Sol ult of the game. That's when things start to turn around for this matchup for this champion. You get the Sky's Descend, the empowered ultimate. Things are able to impact the game much, much more. Up until that point, Care is going to be on a kind of babysitting duty, trying to just say, okay, I'm just going to make sure these minions are getting into tower, and Rookie doesn't have the ability or the HP to get out of lane and impact.
Takes a stun there. Some feathers going in as an ignite burn as well, just to get that pressure in the bottom side. It buys space in the bottom lane for Hacker then to move over to the Drake. This will be the first Drake of the game for FPX as Tian on his way over, but I don't think he can get there in time to contest and might in fact just go for his blue buff instead. So that heavy priority and poking Muck out of lane should force the resets here. JackeyLove does spot the ward, but no way for him to move in. And Care, we've already talked about infinite priority in that mid lane.
So bot lane, mid lane pushing in does mean that Dragon is able to be claimed by FPX. Next Dragon is an Infernal Dragon, so no Chemtech Soul going to be on the Rift. Important to note actually in that case. Would potentially lose some of the value of these early Dragons that you're stacking up. I think FPX, you know, the downfall of what could have happened with this phase of play is that you're pushing in so hard that you get ganked. They've managed to avoid that so far, but Tian really been controlled quite well by FPX. Could have gone that much worse for them. Again, still on vision, protecting their pushing lanes.
And honestly, I'm kind of okay with this being a very quiet early start to the game. Shallow, who knocked under the tower, but a leap strike gets him out to safety. Good attempt there from Wayward. Does not find the kill.
It's like 369 never left. No, it's Wayward. He's back and he's playing the Gragas into the Great Jacks. Both proficient players of this one. Wayward, of course, known more for his carry champions, as you were saying. Still threatening in this matchup. At least trying to hold Shallow to account. Trying to keep down this Jax as long as possible.
Yeah, Gragas, a carry champion to some extent. At least he is going to go for that AP route, but not a classic carry in the way that Jax is a classic carry. You know, you're not exactly going to 1v5 a team fight as Gragas. More playing as somewhat of a defender of the Zeri, of the Asol. Because let's be honest, this top esports roster, not exactly lacking in damage when you look across the champions they've drafted for themselves. But that's a lot later on into the game. And right now, FPX starting off the Herald.
We should know that Tian's here, right?
Yeah, he walked over a wall to get there. Forced away.
So, FPX, knowing that Tian is no longer in the river, threatening them, going to be able to start up this Herald. Don't have then powder around the Soul ult. So, top esports time is not just now. Tian caught out.
Oh, this is bad news. Tian doesn't get flashed on. I'm amazed Care didn't go for more there, or Chocho. And like that was potentially a kill. LWX versus JackeyLove Superstars. 1v1ing in the bottom lane. As JackeyLove has his ult stacking on up, but Featherstorm surely dissuades the play.
Here's Rookie.
Now, LWX underneath the tower. The Blade Caller doesn't find the route on JackeyLove. And Rookie's there to sweep the kill up the tower, though. Oh, the flash heal from Mark to save the day.
Mark with the clutch save onto the Dragon in the mid lane. A Rookie comes down to bot lane. Doesn't need his empowered ult in this point. LWX loses out on the 1v1. To JackeyLove, enough that he's backing off, enough that he's forced his ult out of himself. And what this means is you do have this cross map come through. FPX do have themselves the Herald. They can potentially put that into a winning lane. If they can get a kill into someone like Wayward, that would open up some ways for them to get Shallow Hoop onto the board. With some plates in pocket as well. It's going to be available at this point though, Shallow Hoop. He's going to get himself a free wave crash. Hacker will be at red space.
Nicely done there by Shala, who pushing the wave, pretending he doesn't know about the recall, and then goes and denies that recall at the last second with his counter-strike and with his ward. Obviously, he's jumped away, but just making sure the Wayward has to stay in lane with no mana. So, top esports, a really solid early game here. It has to be said, considering in a lot of their recent series, it has been early game mess-ups where it looks like they're trying to be aggressive but not on the same page.
Tian
This
has
game
ult.
feels a lot cleaner. Tian, look at LPX here. JackeyLove dives on forward, shredding through those minions. LPX though just takes Tian out of the picture. Mark wasn't part of the play.
Wasn't part of the play, and Mark doesn't get to save the person initiating this time. Chocho on the other side, the Annie. It's not been like a huge amount of impact from the support of Chocho, but gets a big amount of turnaround there.
Hacker in the mid lane now. Rookie denied his splash. The ult comes in, and they make it look easy. Hacker getting the setup for Care to file there, and now Herald down in the mid lane as well. This would be 2 plates for Care.
2 plates minimum, maybe even getting towards 3. See if Tian can get there in time to respond to this play. Rookie can be able to teleport under this tower at least. Mark here as well. I think it will just end up being the 2 because of the top having so many players in this mid lane.
Okay, going to be forced away by Mark. And we have to go back to this play and talk about the fact that top esports, once again, not feeling coordinated. The fact that their support isn't a part of this bot lane dive. Oh, I guess the dive is good. This
was the good one. This was the good one. Well, Rookie, we're going to get the Observer Fun moment. You know what's hilarious about this? Every so often on this skin, which is effectively how Shin is the Lightning Dragon one, you know that actually the particle that comes down is actually just a Lee Sin. Lee Sin just flies out of the sky and then stuns people. He's not here for this play though. I'm really waiting for the day when the Observer shows this one. That was the first part of the play. It denied the ult, denied a lot of the summoners from LWX. Doesn't, of course, deny Chocho his early damage. We're not at the point yet where any support falls off in terms of the damage you bring to the play. The Ignite and all of your regular abilities coming in. More than enough to turn that around Mark outside of the play.
And again, just going for a 2v2 there instead of having a support as part of the play. It just feels like a big misstep from top esports. They are still ahead in the game though. They do still have a minor gold advantage. Rod advantage is already picked up for Rookie and for Care in that mid lane, so they'll be scaling up as Wayward in trouble. Shallow, big damage available and forces the flash in the top lane. In the meantime, bottom side of the play, Comet comes on through as JackeyLove absolutely shredding LWX, but LWX has already got his kill. He's got his. Tian now into the bit, chasing Chocho. Might trade his life for it. LWX chased out by Rookie. Jill and Rookie both surviving, both shredding health bars. A triple on the Dragon.
You cannot forget about Rookie. Rookie gets the resets. The Astral Flight coming off the cooldown when he gets those kills and assists. And FPX, they make a crucial misplay around that Dragon. Air goes down without being able to cast his ult, without being able to get big damage through. Really need to see how this one happens again. It happened after such a close play on that top side. We didn't see the setup for this. It's Tian that manages to get right on top of Care. We've seen a little bit of this combo across other leagues, particularly in the ERLs as well. Seeing something like Sejuani Aurelion Sol has been very powerful in terms of making sure that that Aurelion Sol ult lands. It does in this case too with the Vi ultimate. And as soon as you get that first kill, particularly when it's onto the one person that can clean up house, that is incredibly big. 3 kills now for the Aurelion Sol. We talked about top esports scaling. They've got the goal to get ahead of the game.
I mean, they've got the goal. Rookie specifically has the gold. Smell
yeah, a bit terrifying.
Sitting atop his massive pile of gold in this early game. And now it's the FPX, Bilbo and the Dwarves trying to steal some of it for themselves because, I don't know, I mean, Aurelion Sol is such a terror. Never mind when he's got 4 kills at 14 minutes.
Yeah, it's funny you mention Smaug from Lord of the Rings series. Do you know the largest dragon in the Tolkien mythos? A guy called Black. Larger than a mountain range, so it was said, and with 4 kills in it and a star falling from the sky with that empowered ultimate. Rookie is feeling very mythical at this point. Okay, you are so dead.
Yeah, this comet flies down from the sky, and Care is annihilated. Getting next to the chopping block, the Cyclone buy himself some time. Does mean he gets out alive, but my goodness, I mean, what can you do when there's that much lockdown? Yeah.
Now we're getting to the point now, we're to the local tavern, you're putting up like a little quest reward for the local adventurers, like, hey, we've got a dragon problem, with this one. And if there's a local party nearby that can help with it, because FPX, I don't think they can.
At this point, I feel like FPX, they need a Witcher. They don't exist in Lord of the Rings, but... No! What is going on in the top lane? Absolute shenanigans. Tian moving over to make sure the Wayward isn't punished for his lack of ultimate. Herald is up on the map.
It is. Right, okay. Back down to actually what's happening. Let's try and think about the next few minutes of the game rather than just marveling whatever the heck Rookie's going to do next. Because you're getting towards this second Herald being taken by top as well. You're really starting to think about what power plays do FPX have left. You don't have a winning matchup in this top lane. Wayward has picked up the Everfrost for a bit more early power and a bit more ability to chuck out that root and disengage the Gragas. He is there to hold lane. He's not necessarily there to be a big carry, a big AP kind of carry. Not that he won't have damage. He'll be able to disengage some team fights. But FPX, where are your options now? You're outranged and you're out right now in terms of damage.
This is going to be an incredibly difficult to come back in. However, they do have the Jacks up in the side lane, scaling up. They've got the Wukong. It's possible surprise plays, and let's be honest, Top Esports are a team that have been extremely susceptible to pick plays. Let's not count our cheese for Top Esports because this is a team that don't believe in chickens. It's Wayward. Actually managed to get Shala, who's all out somehow.
Sorry, say that again. They don't believe in what?
They don't believe in chickens. They counted them too many times.
Wait, why did Wayward just body slam there?
From memory.
Move them from memory. Like, this is kind of like an alternate universe where, like, maybe it's like Fearness are actually the poultry in Top Esports world. They've like changed the place of like the regular chicken mythological birds. It's like, what are we having for dinner tonight? Moltres from Pokemon. That's what we've got. Chickens, they're just not on the table anymore.
Yeah, that's the problem. I've tried that before. It always comes out burn every single time.
Well, Top Esports definitely have some firepower to do that exactly to the Phoenix sat across the river with them. I'm just like, you know what? I have no more material left. Got its distance. The chicken has crossed the road into absolute oblivion at this time. And, yeah, I think we do have to, of course, call to account that Top Esports haven't really been the cleanest at playing through their leads. Said about a couple of LPL teams where they sometimes flip some plays, they leave themselves open to some pick plays on the other side of the map, and the Wukong and the Annie potentially can lead to that. The question is just getting access to Top Esports, trying to get through the Lulu shield if Mark is in position as well. It's going to be much harder to play around these pick plays. Top Esports, they're going to make it, it's going to be pretty hard for them, at least, to give up the easy pick plays which FPX would look.
Certainly will be. It's Wayward and Shala, who feels like that matchup is heating up. They're really going at each other across the course of this top lane matchup.
Yeah.
Tian and How both are here, but Mark makes the man advantage in favor of Top Esports. We can see Wayward, though, moving towards the mid lane. Drake is up on the map right now, and I'm not talking about Herald slammed down in the mid lane. This is trying to force P and buy a Drake for Top Esports. Will it get the charge? Will. Oh no, it's denied. Hack is tanking it. And there we go. Care manages to finish it off. So Top Esports don't get the one tower in the mid lane, but perhaps with priority they can still get this Drake. FPX moving over.
Wayward has Flash, has a great amount of ability to disrupt this team fight. Watch what that Gragas cast does. That's very important to save the carries of top.
I will say Ace annihilates other dragons. The lightning breath, the breath of light, just melts through objective health bars. And now with the blue buff as well, it's going to be difficult to push out of lane. Shala, who moving down to the bottom side. Tian is in trouble. Asma just split seconds away from denying the escape of Tian.
They're going to go for a play. He's off of vision. They didn't see him.
Rookie dived underneath the tower here, but Shala, who just caught in the breath of light, and now the comet slams on down. It's a pickup for Tian. Hacker trying to escape with the Cyclone, but Rookie's chasing. He will walk away with his life, but it'll cost a tap.
Tian, how the heck did he get away with that one? JackeyLove maybe in a 1v2 briefly here, but Shala not going to go forwards. But Top Esports, as you're saying, they do pick up that dragon. WX get traded heavily on too. If he's going to be defending this mid tower with Wayward over the wall, and actually with that chunk, a little bit bad doing so.
Yeah, Hacker, Chocho, LWX all here in the mid lane to defend this tower. It's a big old blade caller. Wayward maybe taking out the shield, comes through to deny the ignite kill. Wayward survives and JackeyLove trades it. It's a clone that's knocked back and Wayward slams the question mark.
The emotes! The emotes!
They found the mojo, Nymaera. They found it!
Thumbs down execution in the mid lane. Wayward somehow walks away with sub 30 HP. Don't know if it regen up to that. Holy moly, I didn't see exactly how low he dropped, but it was more than enough in this play. Very dangerous things. The wave gets cleared out. Tower aggro gets dropped with the stun after this point. But because of the Everfrost, Hacker doesn't actually get great damage onto Wayward at that point, just outside of melee range. JackeyLove ends up just about getting out as well. Lemos on 27 HP. Do you see anything lower?
I didn't see anything lower, but I mean, 27 HP. It's a stiff breeze.
Pretty low.
Chocho spots Mark there. Both supports seeing each other. Neither really able to do anything about it. As Tian now looking for enemy jungle camps, and it feels like this gold lead is starting to get insurmountable. Top Esports, 5,000 up. As Care really wants that blue buff, but Tian will just smite it away from him. Rookie playing very safe in the bottom side, doesn't know where absolutely everyone is. So plays
respectfully. Take a Gromp as well. Yeah, just getting as much gold as he can, takes the Gromp. We're already talking about how Asol kills dragons very effectively, kills jungle camps as well. Well, dragons, I like to call that one fratricide, you know, killing your own brothers in that one. See if that can happen again, stacking up towards a Cloud Soul as well. Top Esports, they have themselves objectives stacking up. They have a Soul potentially on the horizon as well. And they've got vision control in the enemy jungle. That again reduces the likelihood that FPX can look for the big pick plays, which could potentially see them into a good point. Any one pick, of course, at this point of the game leads into something like a Baron opportunity. Top Esports with their vision control. Not going to start it. Again, they're just making sure that FPX need to be on this top side of the map.
What is JackeyLove doing right now? He's alone in the world. He's going to go with the control ward. I think he will walk away with his life. The whole gang of FPX is here right now. I think maybe, had he stepped just a tiny bit further forward, that could have been a potential pick. But this Top Esports does feel like they're playing much safer, much more coordinated than previously, like going for these invades, but as a team instead of just Tian on his own. I just saw as well, I think it was like 280 stacks on Rookie, so
that's kind of terrifying.
He's using his big ult for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, like every time that big ult is up, I mean, FPX, there's no way you avoid that damage. And with the amount of damage coming in from JackeyLove, which is all AoE damage, how do you manage to get through that? As soon as that big ult descends, it's also going to apply Rylai's. You're going to be slowed. You're already a lower range team trying to close the distance onto these carries. You are no longer just at the point where you need to be really kind of looking for these picks. You're obligated to. If you don't find a clean kill at the start of the fight, I find it very hard to believe that FPX can finish it off cleanly themselves, especially against carries with this amount of gold.
Yeah, it's all going to be down to miraculous ultimates, right? Chocho getting a big Tibbers, maybe Care gets a huge petrifying gaze that sets it all up. That's the only way you're going to win an outright 5v5. Aside from that, Rookie and JackeyLove have the damage to tear people apart in this game. This could be the pick, but no, it's just Hacker losing a quarter of his HP. Cyclone forced out by Tien's engage there. Wild growth actually coming out from Mark to try and find the pick, but Hacker just dips over the wall. Not sure that was the greatest Lulu ultimate I've ever seen.
No. That was one of the Lulu ultimates of all time. We'll leave it at that. Not going to have that one for the next bit, but it does mean it's one anti-pick tool for Top Esports, which is down. Tian has ult, but Care, of course, with the stopwatch and inventory. Very hard to dive onto himself. Top Esports, they can very much throw this game themselves. If they're the ones making the aggressive plays and they kind of funnel into Care's ultimate, level 15 Cassiopeia still has damage, still has 2.5 items. Not like Aurelion Sol's the only scaling mid lane. Hi, Baron. Hi.
There he is.
What's up there, friend?
All three of them. Dragon started.
It's like we're stopping down on the river for an interview with our good friend Baron. How are you feeling about the series so far? It's like, oh, well, you know, nothing's really happened about it. Just
yes, I'm feeling great.
Yeah.
this is a rare thing in a Top Esports series to not have a 20-minute Baron taken down. So Baron's over the moon. Oh, my taste of damage.
Team Baron blasting off again in the near future. See if that one can be the deciding moment for either of these teams. That would be the way that FPX would get into this. Sneaking a Baron, they have a Cassie Pit, getting a pick which leads into it. They do take those objectives so quickly themselves, but it's just so hard for them to, so hard to see how they would do that. Eldon Lurks, he has to check brushes with his Q like that. No one's even on the same side of the map. And that sort of body language, when you see someone checking brushes like that, it means that you realize that FPX don't know where the resets are. They don't know where people are on Top Esports. They're waiting until they can get their own, and now Top Esports back out onto the map, clearing vision. It's very easy to forget when you have double-sided vision how little the enemy team that is, well, the team that is losing has to play around.
Red team's turret has been
Now,
destroyed.
Top Esports now taking the top tier 1. They can push that vision line even deeper. That level of control increases. And looking towards the Baron. And remember, we already talked about how fast Rookie can burn through these objectives. JackeyLove's getting to that point as well. Now on 3 items on the Zeri. It ain't getting any easier for FPX as Hacker tries to face check in, tries to get some vision. Rookie keeping care away.
So important things to note, of course, Navori Quick Blades and the Hurricane, of course, kind of work together. Each of those bolts gives you some extra things to work around. New Zeri, all of her damage is in her E, so when she dashes forward, she does an awful lot of damage, and those Navori Quick Blades basically mean you have infinite uptime on that one. JackeyLove's so powerful at this point. Chocho, maybe we can find a miracle for him to shut him down, but JackeyLove has the cleanse, very hard to reach him in the first place. Top Esports controlling that vision very well right now.
This feels like a bit of a stalemate right now. This Tian slides in and smites away the blue buff. Knew the Hacker was going to go for it. Managed to get it first. Neither mid laner getting that mana regen, which Rookie would love at this point because he's mashing that Q out.
True. Very true. I mean, Rookie has hit himself 3 items. He's going to get himself a Seraph, so he does have a large mana pool to work with between that and the Rod of Ages, but blue buff never goes amiss on one of these carries. JackeyLove up. But yeah, you're right. It is kind of slowing down a little bit, but Top Esports, they shouldn't be making aggressive plays like this. That's probably how they lose the game. They want FPX to engage into them, which is why this game is slowing down. FPX are not giving them the fights they want until now.
Look at this, the CC chain onto Hacker, onto Chocho, and there's a TP onto the Timber. Somebody's gone into their own death. As Rookie in the meantime is 1v3ing Care and LPX. There's nothing they can do about it. And well, it looks too easy for Top Esports.
Yeah, so this is kind of awkward now. Shallow, who teleports right into the backline and gets nothing done with it. 2 kills down, no smite on the table. Top Esports, they find themselves their Baron play. At least FPX get themselves a tower in that mid lane. It's something, it's anything for them at this point. It's been very hard for them to find inroads anywhere. Go back to the replay of how this all happens. As we said, this is all on. Top Esports waiting for FPX to finally come into them. Ask is not quite the cleanest, but it's enough at this point. As we said, once that big ultimate comes down from Rookie, it's very hard to reposition. Because FPX split trying to avoid that ult, they're never in position to actually line up and get damage to force Rookie into bad situations. He comes out of that play with 4 items now. How great.
Yeah. I mean, that is absolutely terrifying. I just want to take a second, though, to acknowledge the discipline with which Top Esports are playing this game, right? The biggest issue that Top Esports have had, not even just this split, like historically, is a lack of discipline and just trying to brute force things for the sake of brute forcing things, not even touching the Baron until they had a pick. That is not characteristic Top Esports, which is a good thing, because characteristic Top Esports has not been working this split. JackeyLove might be characteristic JackeyLove, though, with Shallow, who on the top side of mid lane won't get caught for the time being. Mark Wayward looking for Hacker here. The laser goes out. And just using this Baron to slowly but surely pick the map apart. Tian threatening an all-in. Lasers over the wall. Rookie will be stacked on his Seraphs at this point as well.
See that JackeyLove also poised to hop over the wall. JackeyLove and Rookie really strong at this point. Recently voted into top 10 players of the LPL full-time. Those results came out last couple of days. These 2 players, what a history they've had on various rosters. Not been the cleanest split from them both. In this game, at least, they are terrifying.
I certainly are. And it feels like FPX have been suffocated in this one, right? Like, all game long, they have been posturing, they've been trying to make things happen, but never really having the opportunity to actually make anything stick. They've got 4 kills, but they're almost 10,000 gold down at this point. Top Esports drafting a scaling composition and going for a slow and steady victory here. If they can just keep this up, still a minute on the Baron, pressuring multiple lanes. I mean, it's textbook from top esports.
That it is. Of course, you need to make sure you actually read the book through to its end, though. You can't end up doing things short. You've got the Astral Flight coming in, Run coming through.
Yeah, Tian starts to pile Shala, who counter-strike, does not dodge fire. And Rookie certainly bringing plenty of that to the table today. It's a pick on Shala, who surely opens up the map for top esports. Rookie flying in, looking for Hacker. It's not going to happen.
No, you don't have Disguised Descent just yet from Rookie. Each time you cast it, of course, you've got to build up those stacks again. Doesn't quite have it available. But imagine the next time that's up, the next time you siege in, the next time you look towards one of those towers, FPX won't quite so easily stand beneath those bulwarks. Rookie, at this point, getting closer and closer towards what could be a last item death cap or a defensive item as well. At that point, the game is so even more difficult. But Wayward, caught out, has a flash just coming up, but it's not up there yet.
Wayward going to be rooted up here. The stun comes through. It's a big cask. Oh, it's a big Everfrost, but Hacker should be able to finish the job. What happens in the meantime is a Cloud Soul take it for top esports.
Which is also a little bit terrifying, because you know that Astral Flight is the thing where running Soul flies around the map, kind of based on his move speed too. Anything with increasing that, especially if he leads in with the ult and then W's afterwards, is going to mean he is going to be zipping around these fights even more uncontrollably than before. Look how fast he is getting across here. You are not going to be able to reach this guy. You are not going to be able to escape him either. FPX, again, it is more important than ever that they start off the fight in a good way. If they can find either JackeyLove or Rookie, maybe there's a slim chance of hope. With 8,000 gold behind, I don't want to overstate that. If they come back from a game like this, it would have to be absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it would have to be classic top esports, I think, is
420 stacks, by the
best way to word it. Yeah.
Well and truly ablaze.
Now. Gets a whole bunch extra off of the wave. But yeah, this guy's descent available once again for Rookie.
JackeyLove walking back up, has himself Bloodthirster shields, has himself the Lulu shields as well. Reminder that when Zeri gets a shield, she gets faster. It's even harder to hit her. With a Cloud Soul as well, it just keeps stacking. It's so hard to pin down these champions that already outrange you. They have to call 4 people to defend 1 turret at this point. It means that they're potentially losing farm elsewhere, potentially getting hit on a tower somewhere as well. Top esports in complete lockdown on them.
But playing very, very slowly, has to be said. This is not... Like, when you think of top esports snowballing the win, they usually do it real quick. And you can tell that this is a team that, looking towards playoffs, wants to improve the cleanliness of their gameplay. JackeyLove trying to get some hits on it. The siege from this roster, isn't that great? Tian going for a dive, the comet lands! And almost eradicates Jojo. Care locked up, LWX locked up as well. 1 for each of the players, with Rookie grabbing a second, grabbing a third, and he'll fly on forwards towards victory. LWX wants to escape, but you cannot escape the Dragon Flash available, but Rookie doesn't go for it.
What utter restraint! I have never seen this for a top esports roster, but wow, does really feel like Aurelion Sol's becoming a bit like the Zeri of the mid lane. If you start winning these fights, you do not get to escape the multi-kills.
No, you do not. Rookie chasing everyone down on the side of FPX. 20 seconds on the clock for those respawns. LWX versus the world, and the world is going to win this time around. Nexus Bear, and it will be top esports getting game number 1 for themselves and showing that they are fixing things for playoffs.
By the book, as you said it, Munch, that is a pretty terrifying game from top esports. Locking in that Aurelion Sol later into the draft, saving counter pick, saving the mid lane pick rather, a little bit later. And we've seen it sometimes today. We've seen a lot of priority on mid jungle combinations. This one's less about the playmaking and pick combos. It was more about that team fight scaling. And they showed they had that restraint, that presence of mind to back off from plays and invite FPX to come into them at the important moments. And then they realized, hey, we can just siege for free. We're going to be able to buy space for JackeyLove to hit turret with something like that Aurelion Sol E, that kind of like that slowing, not quite grab field thing. And that allowed them to play out the rest of that game very, very cleanly once the Baron went down.
Yeah, I mean, clean is absolutely the word, which, I mean, it feels strange to say that for top esports. They're on a 5-loss streak, and so many of these games have been absolute carnage, absolute chaos that they end up losing out on. And so many of those plays not coordinated. Today, it feels like they've come in with a totally different approach to the game. Like, Tian especially and the way that the team is playing around Tian has changed dramatically. It feels like overnight, honestly, because previous games we've seen Tian going in by himself, the team not on the same page, the team not there to help. And we saw a little flashback of that in the bottom lane with the gank, where he kind of just got one shot by Tibbers. But aside from that, the team feels very coordinated.
Yeah, and actually putting that into context of what this split means as well. I mean, in the very early split, it felt like, yes, Rookie was a big playmaker in the mid and late game, but largely this team was about JackeyLove hitting his power spikes on 1-2 items on something like a Lucianami, and also Tian just running the early game. Tian was arguably the most important player to this team in the early split. Feels like when they play like this, though, taking off some of the emphasis in that early game and saying, look, Rookie will carry later into the game. Don't worry about it. Rookie, JackeyLove, they don't have to be exploding the map. It's less of the early game explosiveness that we learn to see from top esports when they're on form, but they've reinvented themselves. It doesn't necessarily look bad.
No, certainly not. I will say, this is not really relevant to anything we're talking about, but can we just take a moment to appreciate that Aurelion Sol's ult brings down a star, right? And it only hits a tiny little part of Summoner's Rift. How huge are the characters of League of Legends, and how massive is the planet of Runeterra if a star is like seven Teemos wide?
I mean, you could take down like
the biggest planet in the history of the universe.
Well, there's that, and also just like, even if it's a star of that size, because heart stars are like hyperdense plasma, the actual amount of weight in that would be enough to like completely shatter the planet. It would actually be incredibly large amounts of energy. God, dude, like, I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's like a teaspoon worth of neutron star would actually like completely destroy planet Earth if it was on its surface. But Rookie, you know, doing a pretty good job to kind of put that into League of Legends gameplay as well. We can't exactly, you know, completely tear up the terrain, but destroy some health bars on the way out.
Oh. I mean, Runeterra, the core of the planet, it's made of petricite, so it's difficult to break apart. We're going to jump into a break, and then we'll see how top esports fare in game number 2, or if FPX can show us what they're made of, show us what they brought against EDG.